Welcome back in, everyone. This is Black Girls Talking TV, where we bring the group chat to life and discuss all your favorite TV shows. Today is all about Survivor, and if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can stay tuned to all of our recaps. I'm Victoria. I am a psychologist out of New York and Illinois.
And I'm Kamaria. I'm an attorney in the DC area and a pop culture writer. So let's get into this episode. I didn't like the end result, but I did like Camila not going home. Like, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Period. On the edge of my seat, clutching my pearls, everything, because I literally was like, if Camila goes home, I might be done with the season. Like, that's how I was feeling. Like, even though there's still people that I'm rooting for, if Camila goes home, this game is a wrap. Like, it's everybody's about to get picked off one by one, and I hate that. Like,
like if she doesn't stand a chance, no one else does. Like,
no one else does.
You know. But yeah, we'll get into it. Let's go in the order of the episode and the after tribal talk. And Chrissy, I'm like, at the beginning of the episode and at the end of the episode, Chrissy was, in
the same boat.
You said what?
I said in the same boat.
Yes. Like, she said all that, like, oh, don't listen to what I say in tribal. Nobody was buying that. Like, even as an audience member, I was like, girl, that's something that you say before you go to tribal. Just be like, I'm going to talk it up. I think, like, if you're going to do that tactic. But I don't even think she's doing that tactic. She's just lying, trying to make them think differently about her oopsie moment. And then she oopsied again, But
yeah, she didn't really think that through, which is okay. I have not seen Chrissy as much of a strategist throughout this game. I think she came wanting to play, but I don't think the right people wanted to play with her. Sure. Like, I think if her and Say got together, Mary, like that underdog crew that we talked about before, if they would have all came together, because they're all really good strategists, I feel like the strategy of her speaking up probably wouldn't have ended in the way that it did. But all of the big strategists and smaller physical threats are trying to just get into this big crew alliance for whatever reason, instead of getting them out. And so, we are where we are with that.
Yeah, no, I feel like this is maybe a bad comment to make, but it's said with love. But I feel like it's her age that kind of got to her, because she's like a mom, you know what I mean? Like, moms say what they want to say and they call things out, and they don't sometimes have the chill factor. That's my experience with moms, love my mom, but she's not,
Mine as well. Okay, I gotta be on alert with my mom. I gotta have my head on a swivel. Like, what you about to say? What you about to say?
She's gonna call out and say, like, they don't do a lot of pretense. And so I think that it's that level of being older, and it's not even just being a mom, but it's like that middle-aged thing about just calling a thing, and they don't really always have as much finesse with everything. So I think that's maybe part of it, but I think her head was in the right place. She just didn't have the social capital to be able to get it moving. You know what I mean? So it happened.
I saw a post. Yeah, I saw a post. Someone said, like, Chrissy crawled so Camilla Star and Eva could. I mean,
just making up any kind of post. What is this?
They do. Like, it was like Chrissy basically crawled so the rest of them can run and go after the big threats. But
maybe
we'll see if that actually happens. I don't know.
I need them on that side though to get it together. Like, I don't like Chrissy going ultimately, because that's a number for them. Like, I haven't done the math of it yet, but y'all side is dwindling, you know what I mean? And especially with Mary switching over to the David and Strong guys camp, y'all numbers are dwindling even faster. So
well, let's actually get into that. So do you think the Strong Five is in a better position with Mary being, quote unquote, David's other number? Or are they in a better position with Camilla being Shaheen's, quote unquote, other? Because in the beginning of the episode, there's no speculation still that Camilla and Kyle are working together, which is great. But, as the episode goes on, there's this building suspicion of, like, well, what's going on? Like, Shaheen and Camilla, like, they seem like they, closer than they're letting on. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd lean Mary is better for them than Camilla because I think Mary maybe actually genuinely with David and then maybe genuinely with some of the other folks who are with David. But I don't think Camilla is at all. Like, I think
Yeah,
maybe she has some level of loyalty. I'm not clear on her relationship with Shaheen. It feels like she is smart enough to be faking it with everybody except for Kyle. And so I guess I would say that like Mary, but it's unclear at this moment because Mary is also someone who has many tricks up her sleeve. And I do
right,
not put it past her to be a Trojan horse for them, like her own to further her own needs. Like she's a Trojan horse
right.
and she pops out of the horse, like the real me, you know.
Yeah,
And so I don't know, but I lean towards Mary because I don't see her. I'm not aware of her having other connections that are stronger than what it
yeah.
appears to be. Like I guess this David thing. It came out of nowhere, but it's obviously been something. I think I was saying last episode how we don't see her game, we don't see what's going on with her, and so what's happening. But I guess this was what was happening.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, right now, Mary is clear eyed open to the group because she just wants in.
Hmm.
Camilla's like, y'all don't know, but I have this relationship with Kyle. So push come
Hmm.
to shove, whatever we want to do under the radar will potentially happen because
Yeah.
Camilla can go back to, at that time, could have gone back to Chrissy and Mitch and potentially Star to say, hey, let's try and flip. And I think Kyle probably, if they had the numbers, would have definitely jumped on board. But yeah, I was like, ooh, I mean, if they were smart, they definitely probably would listen to David a little bit more. But there's also that weird thing with Joe going on
Uh-huh.
because Joe also doesn't trust Mary.
Yeah, because I think it's kind of like Mary is David's number. You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
I think it's the same for them. I think that's why Joe could go either way. It's because it's like
right,
Camilla is Shaheen's number in his mind, and Mary is David's number. And he's just meeting Mary at the merge. Like David and Mary were on the tribe swap together, and so they
right.
got to know each other. But he didn't get that opportunity. And I think it's interesting because he did get the opportunity to get to know Camilla. So I'm wondering why he has less trust in her?
Right, because I'm like, you
So,
were with Camilla in your original tribe,
yeah.
and then Joe,
Was it the original
Shaheen,
tribe?
yeah, they were on. They were originally Orange Tribe.
Oh, yeah, he's been with Camilla the whole time. That's interesting. I
Right.
thought it was just this tribe.
Very.
No, 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 no. They weren't on the same tribe, right? It was just at the tribe swap. No, they weren't on the same tribe. Joe was on the purple tribe. He was on purple with
I'm sorry, not
Thomas
Joe. I
and
meant
Bianca.
David. David was on the Orange Tribe. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Yeah. I was saying David was on the Orange Tribe with Camilla. I'm saying in terms of
Yeah,
who has a relationship with
yeah,
Camilla, right? And then
yeah.
during the tribe swap, Shaheen and Joe were able to form a relationship with Camilla. Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Kyle, right? So you
yeah,
would think because of all of those dynamics that Camilla would have been the one that they chose
yeah,
over Mary. So that's why I
yeah,
was kind of like confused. But then at the end, I was like, well, I mean, it's clear to us that Camilla is a very smart and strategic
yeah.
player, but
Mhm,
to them, it's seeming like Mary might be a little bit more loyal because she has nowhere
mhm.
else to go. And I think
Yeah.
they know that Camilla potentially has other places that she can go. But
I don't even
yeah.
know if that's what it is that they think she has other places that she can go. I have no clue what they think about her as a threat. It seems literally just like their relationship with the member of the five is the threat,
Yeah.
you know? Because I think even Joe are just looking at each other like we're our number ones and we're in the five. These other people have number ones outside of the five. Like, what are we
Right.
doing here? So I don't know what their thoughts were on all of that, but
Yeah.
uh, it's hard to tell. I'd like to see a little bit more of what's happening outside of the five on in
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
shows at it. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, do we
Yeah.
want to transition into like when they were picking players and because that kind of is relevant to all of this, Joe kind of clocking that like oh, David picked Mary and Shaheen picked Camilla, and that made him feel some type of way.
I was thinking, Joe, how much information is this actually giving you? Because they weren't going to choose you. They already know you are in tight with Eva. So I was kind
Yeah.
of like, you're saying this is giving you information and you're sitting back and you're listening, but we don't know what's going to come of this pairing, first
Yeah.
of all, because it's different every single time.
Yeah.
And two, like, we already know you finna choose Eva. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, boy, sit down. That's how I felt
Right.
during that
It's like,
during that moment.
yeah, it's like you're very obvious, and so why are we caring so much about other people being obvious or whatever? If
Right.
you know it, you know it. Like, I don't know why this had to
Yeah.
be like, oh, I confirmed it. It's like, okay, all
Yeah.
right.
It was funny though when they got into the challenge and then Jeff was like, Shaheen, why did you pick Camilla? Like kind
Oh
of
yeah,
making
I
it
felt
up.
like that was a little. He called him out a little bit. I was
Yeah,
like,
I was like, that's a
there is
little
a pack.
messy.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I didn't know what that was about. Shaheen, I don't think he wasn't expecting the question. He stumbled through that question, you know?
Yeah, he did. He answered it. I feel like the only way you could answer it. Like we don't know what's about to
Yeah.
come of this, so we just
Yeah.
picking partners. And then also he called out Camilla too in a way where he was
Yeah,
like,
I was
Camilla,
looking at
you
him.
keep saying, yeah, you keep
Oh,
saying you aren't getting picked. You keep saying you're not being chosen, and yet you're still here. I was like, damn, Jeff.
yeah. No, I noticed that too. And I'm like, was she saying that? I guess maybe I missed it, or maybe it just was cut out of the edit in previous episodes. I don't remember her saying that per se, but I understand they don't show us everything.
Yeah,
But yeah, so the challenge, I wondered if it was even like gonna be where they're competing against each other at the end, in terms of like your partner is your obstacle to get to the next round. That's what I thought.
right. Yeah,
But it wasn't that, and so it worked out, I guess, for people who had good pairings, like Joe and Eva.
yeah, right.
Any thoughts on the challenge itself?
No, I was so irritated that Star and Mitch they had the lead and then they lost it when it came to digging.
Yeah,
That hurt my heart. I was like, oh
yeah,
boy. Cause
yeah.
yeah, them of all people, I didn't want them to have to go anywhere where they potentially could lose their vote.
Yeah, and then ultimately, like Star losing her vote, it didn't even matter for her. It's interesting. She's not. I'm wondering if she's gonna end up being like a disposable vote at a certain point, or if she is really just not a factor that people are trying to get out right now. I f-
You never hear her name. So
yeah.
it is very interesting, like yeah,
Mhm.
you never hear her name out of
Yeah,
anyone's mouth as even
yeah,
a potential option. So I am definitely wondering in terms of what's reality and then like what we're getting in the producer edit. Yeah, I don't know. I'm rooting for Star hella heavy though. Hella heavy. I hate that she keeps getting these like ramp up and then like goes back into the bushes moments
yeah,
cuz in the
yeah.
beginning of the episode I definitely was like where the hell is Star? She wasn't
Hmm.
in the scene when they were picking
Hmm.
um the partners. She wasn't in the scene when they were talking after tribal. I was just
Hmm.
like, where the hell is she? Like, so I was a little confused by that. I was like, did something happen? But yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, and
yeah,
then
I'm rooting for
eventually
her.
when they had to go on the journey, what were your thoughts on like how they played the game with kind of Star being, I guess, the sacrificial lamb?
Yeah, I didn't understand why they were going for Star and not Shaheen.
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know. I think that they were trying to get the least amount of blowback and also have a final answer, like so that it's not them, Because I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie, I stopped paying attention a little bit on that little thing, and I was like, "What's happening?" And then I noticed that it was like there was some strategy involved with the red ball type thing. So I was like, "Okay, I guess there is." But at that point, I could see that they were going for stars. So I was like, well, that's where we are. And so,
yeah. But so like for Camilla, right? Because out of Camilla and Mitch, I am essentially rooting more for Camilla.
mhm,
Um, for Camilla, I was thinking like in terms of just management back at camp. I think it would have been harder to manage that with Shaheen.
Oh, for sure.
But at the same time, I'm thinking like, you know, for a fact that Shaheen is in this strong group and you don't have too many numbers. So at that moment, we know, I feel like it's clear that Star is a loyal person. And if you do for her, she takes that to heart, you know, and would then defend you moving forward. So I feel like that could have been a way to, you know, start a relationship with Star in a sense.
But I think she would have to have been vocal about who she was going after and saying, Star, I'm saving you. I don't want you to have to go through that. She'd have to vocally say that at the challenge. I mean, because think about even Mitch. Mitch doesn't think she saved him just because she went after Star. You know what I mean? They just are grateful
Yeah.
that they weren't the target. And so I feel like I think she should have played it the way she did it because I think Star is the least blowback, and she's working with Shaheen, you know, sort of.
Yeah.
And so if she hadn't, it would have given him pause, and he would have been like,
Yeah.
"What's up? What's up with that?" And I don't think that it was worth it that much to try to reel in Star. You know, you could do that back
Yeah.
at camp, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's true. That's true. Alrighty. So do we want to go on to post challenge, post journey, the
Mhm.
reward dinner thing? Eva, she gets this advantage.
Yes.
For all the Eva fans, I know they are so happy, but I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
want the girl to go because I need my people to come on through.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. I think that they've got to get Eva out. She is the like if she gets to the end, her or Joe, nobody else
Yeah.
is winning, I don't think, against them. Like nobody.
Yeah.
Kyle, Camilla, like nobody's winning against them. They're gonna
Yeah.
win. One of the two of them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there is no one there that I probably would have wanted to have that
Advantage.
advantage
Yeah.
besides potentially Joe. And I only say Joe because once Eva is out, Joe is for sure in with, I think, Kyle more than David after
Yeah,
this
I could see that.
episode.
I could see that.
So he would have been the only other person that I would have wanted to have that advantage. But when the four of them won, got to the last round, I was like, I don't want any of them going to. They're not the ones I'm even rooting for. So
Ah,
I was just like, whatever.
who are the other two? I can't even think. My brain is blank.
David and Mary.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, bad setup.
Ah, yeah. No, I
A
mean,
bad setup.
yeah, because I was say maybe like I still have like residual like for Mary from when she was on
Yeah,
this, and so but in this moment, she would have done nothing with that except to damage Camilla's game. So yeah, I think she recognizes that Camilla is smart, and it's her intelligence, Mary's, that is recognizing that in Camilla. I think,
yeah,
yeah. So, because she was like, I won't put my foot down on many things, but this is something I will. So she feels very strongly about it. You know.
yeah.
What was the advantage? Because I don't know
It's
why.
just it's a secret. She has to. Eva's gonna have to sneak away. It says tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So essentially, we'll see it in the next episode,
Oh,
hopefully, to see whatever it is. But she's not sure what it is, but it is a secret.
does she have to do it?
But huh?
Does she have to do it? I mean, I know it's an
I don't think
advantage,
she
but
has to do it, but in order to get the advantage, she
yeah,
does.
'cause
But
it's
I did
interesting.
think it was great that she decided to keep it a secret and not tell everyone
Yeah,
because
yeah.
she's right. Her game is very public right now, and why she has such a public game and is still here, I don't know. Um, but yeah, it was a good move for her to be like, you know what, I'm going to keep this one to myself. And hopefully she don't even tell Joe.
I could see that being, I don't know, maybe more difficult for her, but I could see that being beneficial for her. All right. Do you want to get to the Kyle, Camila, David, Mary of it all?
Yeah, one thing I do not like is to see a white man go from 0 to 100 on a black person or a woman. Okay, I don't like it. I was triggered. I was
Oh,
triggered.
really? Yeah, no,
I was
I can
triggered.
see
I
that.
said, "Hell no! Who is you talking to, David? No, sir. No, sir." I was like, "That boy needs some milk, and he needs
Uh,
to sit down."
right, right. It was a lot, but he was very sharp about it, like with even peeping Kyle on it, like being like,
Yeah.
"You're making me concerned, brother." But I don't understand
This
how
whole
they
thing
got
of the
so
surprise
separate,
factor.
huh?
It was the surprise factor is what Mary and David were stuck on. They were like, but it'll be a surprise factor. That's what Mary kept saying. But it's a surprise factor because they're not expecting it.
But they won't expect it next week either, you know.
Right.
But so, how many people are left? Because I want to talk through this for a second. Like, how many people are left? We've got
It's 10 before the vote, and now there's 9.
now there's 9. So there's 5. It decides. Do you hear
Yeah.
me? Like how? That's why I don't like them getting rid of Chrissy. The 5 decides no matter what.
Yes.
So what are we talking about? But the preview for the next episode does give me hope that maybe there will be a splinter with Shaheen maybe going on Kyle and Camilla's side.
Yeah.
And maybe they pull Joe and Eva and they just go for Mary and David. I don't know. But I don't like the way things are headed right now. And I didn't like that Kyle was not ready to blow up his game in that moment because I think that if they had kept Chrissy, so it'd be Chrissy. If they kept Chrissy, that would be 5 votes. Well, I guess 4 votes. Is that 4 votes? It's him, Camila, Chrissy, Mitch, and well, that Star didn't have any votes. So hold on.
Yeah.
Is are there 10 now, or are there 9? Because
It was 10 and now there's 9.
10 votes or 10 people? Because Star didn't have a vote.
It's 10 people,
Okay.
right? Because you
It's
have
10 people now or 10
Joe.
people. Okay, yeah. I'm like,
Hold on. So
let
you
me look
had
at it.
Joe, Eva, David, Shaheen, Kyle, Mary, Camilla, Star, Mitch, Chrissy. 10. You no longer have
Oh,
Chrissy.
okay.
Yeah. So now it's
So
9.
now there's
Yeah.
9. Yeah,
Yeah. So
I guess they
that's
only
why
have.
they ultimately had to get Chrissy because they had no other
Oh,
way to
they didn't
move
have the votes.
because Mary wasn't going to go against David.
Yeah, I guess that was the only path. I wasn't even understanding that throughout the episode. That could have added to
Yeah.
my intensity. Because like I kept thinking like you guys band together, get out Shaheen, get out David, get out somebody.
Yeah.
But they didn't have Stars vote and it literally was the 4 of them and there was just been 4 votes. So they had to do Chrissy. Interesting. So like I guess their plan is to like peel away at like peel Shaheen from that crew. Maybe they could peel Joe and Eva. But yeah, Kyle was seeming a little obvious to me in all of it. I will
Yeah,
say
he
that.
was.
Like
Yeah.
I was like, are you gonna pull us out, Kyle? Because you're just let me speak. Like
Well, he was thrown off guard, but he definitely was
true.
not moving good under that pressure. I think he was just like, no, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I think everything was just coming to a head for him, and it might have just
Yeah.
been too because he is good under pressure. Like we've seen
Yeah.
that before, but
Mm,
I think this one moment where he's just like, "Oh shit, my number one is about to be gone."
yeah.
Like this
It-
is my whole game. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to figure something out, and like we already know, like when people are getting pulled back and forth for confessionals, you
yeah.
really don't have that much time to like figure it
Yeah.
out with everyone. You know,
Yeah.
I think the only way they could have pulled that out is to potentially if Kyle would have just said like, yo, Joe, bro, like we gotta go ahead and just get David out. Like we can still have this
Mm,
strong guys thing. But
mm.
David clearly is the one that's not thinking here and he's only thinking about his game. He's so worried about keeping Mary.
No, yeah, I think that would have done him in. I think that Joe would have looked at that and said, "You're flipping on the 5? Like,
Yeah,
bruh, like maybe we should get Camille out and maybe we should get you out." Like, I don't think that would have done well. I think the only play if he wanted to do something different was get Mary. Like,
yeah,
why are we keeping Mary? She's coming in and she's like a part of this. It's the 6 now? Like, what
right,
is this? Like, Camilla is not a part of this. Like, she is just a number we are using. What is he doing? He's trying to add to our numbers. That means he's loyal to her in a way, and she's making decisions. Like Camilla don't run nothing over here. She's a silent addition to us. Like he he
yeah,
is allowing Mary to come in and make decisions to your detriment. So I do
right.
feel like if anything, he could have maybe tried to flip it on Mary, but I think him flipping it on David would have been like Joe would have been like his alarms would have sounded.
Yeah. I could see that. I do agree. Yeah, they definitely should. They should have disarmed David, though. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I wonder what's gonna happen next in terms of like who they're gonna go for. But I'm just unclear because I'm just unclear about like how it's gonna go.
For real.
Because I'm like, what is Kyle's
Gotta
end
say
game?
it twice because what the hell is going on, Survivor 48? What is going on?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I have no clue what's going on with this. So we'll see. Was there anything in terms of tribal that you wanted to touch on? We already talked about Chrissy talking too much.
I mean, that was the thing. That was the Survivor gods opening up the
I
gates
know,
of
right?
heaven for Camilla and her just yapping. Like, I didn't want it to be her or Camilla, but I'm like, if it got to be one of y'all, it got
It,
to be you, Chrissy. And thank you for
right.
running your mouth
No.
because my girl Camilla has to stay. Like, that was my
Right.
thoughts. And as soon as she kept running her mouth, I was just like, everybody had no choice but to look over to David and say, see? See?
Yeah.
Told you. So now what? You want to keep her here for surprise element? What you gonna do,
Yeah.
David? So I feel
Yeah.
like it worked out
Yeah.
perfectly in that regard.
But
But yeah.
but I do feel like because there was no Camilla vote,
Yeah.
at all, even from Mary or from David. I feel like there had to have been a decision to do that before they got to tribal, and that just added to it. That's my
Yeah.
thoughts on it, but I'm not sure. It could have been literally
Yeah.
tribal, but it feels like they wrapped it up a little bit. And so I would have loved to see some of those conversations. And I know that they got to keep suspense for us, but I'd love for
Right.
them to show us on the next episode, like show us a little bit of how that happened.
Yeah.
The other thing that came to me while they were having that discussion is that Camilla at a certain point started being like in too much in defense of Chrissy. I was like, girl, calm down a little bit. Like towards the end, did you notice that? Like she was like, it was like she's not saying this and this, and she's not. She's coming to her aid. I was like, girl, just let this thing blow up. It's a fire. Stop trying to put it out. Like let it blow up. But I think it just got too much that at a certain point, David and Chrissy going back and forth were drowning out a little bit of what Camilla was saying. So it didn't,
Yeah.
I don't think David picked up on it as much. But I was a little concerned. I was like, girl, what? It was only a quick moment. It wasn't like extended, but I was just like, let her bury herself.
I
Like,
thought it was her being a little strategic, just a little bit to show
mm,
like, maybe I don't know what's going on here and like I'm
mm,
gonna be voting with Chrissy tonight.
mm,
Um just to give that little
maybe.
element of
Mm,
I'm still on the bottom of the tribe. You
maybe.
guys are the top of the tribe. Just to give
Mm-hmm.
that vibe just a little bit. And then her saying this isn't good jury management. I feel like that was a perfect line
Oh,
because
no, that's true. It
yeah,
was a little
because
bit
this
of
is
manipulation.
not good jury management. And David's like, "Well, I'm not the one." No, you are though. You are, and the whole like people get together because of gender and da 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 all the time, and now it's a problem that the strong guys are getting
Yeah.
together. And
Yeah. David does give me like, yeah, I'm not even gonna go there, but like it's
I was
off.
triggered. Like I said, I said,
Yeah, like there's
like,
something. I mean, it's not. It doesn't seem like it's like what he leads with. Like there's some people who
yeah,
lead with that as like that's their personality. They're like, they feel aggrieved and they're like, "What about us?" type of thing. But he seems like he has the gene is a little dormant maybe and it pops out from
hmm
time to time.
yeah.
And it is interesting. It is interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes
But
though,
they're in their most vulnerable states. So
yeah,
the realest them is coming
yeah,
alive in
yeah,
Survivor.
yeah, yeah. So we'll
The beginning
see.
is all social. It's all
Uh-huh.
social in the beginning. We see
Um,
the liveliest parts of you, the most energetic parts of you. Well,
mhm.
now that you're dwindled down,
And
little energy, no
yeah,
food.
yeah.
The real you is coming alive, honey,
That's
and
funny. That's
it's
actually
loud to me. It's very loud
yeah.
to me.
I can see that. I can see that. I guess thoughts on next week based on the preview. It does seem like there's going to be a bit of a split, like,
Yeah.
happening in the 5, but then sometimes you can never trust the previews that much. So I have
Right,
no.
right, right. I was thinking it's probably going to be a nice little bro code conversation. Like, bro, we
Mm,
said we were going to stick together. We can't be fighting too hard for the others outside of the
mhm,
strong 5. Go with the majority, and then that's it. Because technically, Chrissy wouldn't have hurt your game. It wouldn't have
mm.
hurt your game to get rid of Chrissy. So, yeah,
But the only thing is that now that they did that, like, Camilla is like, she's up next for slaughter unless
yeah,
there's something happens, like she gets immunity or she finds an idol. I'm like, are people still looking for idols? Because, like, are there any still out there? Like, what's up with all of this? Because I would really, really, really love to see them get Eva out because
yes,
they can get that out, get the idol out. And I think that opens Joe up a little bit more to find his next loyal person. But if you're the person who gets her out, he might be trying to avenge her survivor death. So there's like a double-edged sword, but I
yeah,
do want to see that happen. But like I said, I don't know what Kyle and Camilla's plan is for next week. Like, what's happening, because he can't not, like, blow up his game at this point and vote,
yeah,
so it has to be like, so you said there's 9 of them. It has to be Shaheen goes with them. Shaheen, Kyle, Camilla, Mitch. That's 4. They need another. They need Joe and Eva, or they need Star.
yeah,
And I'm not sure if Star is the person to do it, because I think her closer connections, I don't know who she's close with, but it's like she gave Eva the idol. Like, Joe and Eva have been receiving information from her, when she's had information to give. So I'm not
right.
sure if they can count on her being a person that they can
Well,
pull
it's
over.
interesting. It's interesting because I feel like, in that regard of who to kind of split up and bring over onto this Kyle side,
Mhm,
Joe and Eva are in the middle. Joe has a stronger relationship with Kyle, and Eva has a stronger relationship with David. And so it's
mhm,
almost like you pull their force apart. And so it's
mhm.
going to be up to Joe and Eva. Like, they have to be able to swing together, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
and I
unfortunately,
just
in
don't
that
see that.
regard, I do think that Eva will listen to Joe more than Joe will listen to Eva. I feel like Joe has the ability to say, like, come on, sis, like, this is just a
Yeah,
better way for our game. We're more protected. This way we have
yeah.
larger numbers, potentially, if it gets presented the right way.
Yeah, I feel like what they need to do is try to make a swing at Mary. Like, I feel like
Yeah,
that's their biggest play, because it's like I said before, Camilla is just, she's a writer to what we have. She doesn't even know about it, I think. Mary knows about it and is now at 6. Like, it's like, come on. I think that if Joe, like, just not taking into account that Camilla is coming for them, right? Joe, if he's looking at that, you have to see Mary as a stronger threat
yeah,
than Camilla. Like, you just have to. And so I'm hopeful that that's what sways them, and that they can make that move to just be like, we want to move forward. We do not want Mary as a part of that. And we
yeah,
can control Camilla and Mitch much more easily than we can control Mary,
yeah,
And so let's get her out. So I'm hopeful that that's what where we go next week, or we go, for the head, and David is out of here. But
right.
I think that because of this, it also is setting up that Joe and Eva are sitting way pretty, you know.
Yeah,
And I
definitely.
think the one saving grace is if they're able to sniper and get Mary out, David might be like, "All right, none of y'all are my people."
Right.
So he might start, like, recalibrating and trying to figure out who he can work with, and not trusting Joe. And maybe he's just like, if you're not necessarily that I'm working with you, but I have targets, and my targets may be Joe or whoever. Because he said something to Joe after the vote, like, you broke your word, man. You said that you were going to
Yeah, I
do this
saw
or
that.
whatever.
Yeah.
So if he has eyes for Joe, it might be like, my enemy. If we have mutual enemies, I can't even say it right. Then
Right.
I can work with you. The
Yeah.
enemy, the
But that's the
what was
other
he
thing,
saying?
right? Like, David, he keeps wanting to play this, like, a high honorable game, and it's like, This is
Does
just
he?
not. Yes, he's the one driving this whole. You can play the game in an ethical way. You can play the game without
Notice it.
manipulation and lie, which is why Chrissy was like, "Hello, this is Survivor. It's a
Yeah,
game of
I'm.
manipulation and lies."
Yeah.
Um, and so
I
yeah,
was
that's why
thinking he
he's
was
so
more.
gung ho on Joe being like on Joe. On him saying you didn't stick to your word.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
wonder what that's about though, because they all voted Chrissy. So what's that about? So I don't know. We'll see, I guess, next episode. I feel
yeah,
like it'll be a good episode. That's what I will
yeah,
say, because it's do or
absolutely.
die for Camilla, and also it's like something might happen with this alliance.
Yes, I need there to be a puzzle at the end of this next
Yeah, immunity
challenge
challenge.
because
Yeah, she needs it.
Joe, Eva, or David will not get immunity if there is a puzzle at the end.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anything else before we say goodbye to the good people?
No, I think that's it. If you aren't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Black Girls Talking TV. And until next week,
All right,
bye.
bye.